Hi there, I'm Karen O'Connor of SingWise.com, and today I'm going to be talking about jaw lowering and mouth opening and compare typical patterns between opera singers and vocalists of contemporary commercial styles. This video is based on two of my Facebook posts from September the 6th of this year. If you're on Facebook and haven't yet checked out the SingWise Vocals page, this is the kind of thing that I like to discuss on that page. I don't just post links to my latest videos or articles, I also use that page as a medium for teaching, and I like to share inspiring and educational quotes from published resources and also get to know my followers a bit better and build up a community by posing questions. So for a long time, the teaching of a very large jaw and mouth opening, regardless of pitch, vowel, intensity, or the individual's anatomy, was common. This advice is still somewhat in vogue today, as some singing teachers and choir directors who are convinced that larger mouth and jaw openings are necessary to improve vocal resonance, diction, and the voice's ability to project, tell their students or choir members to open wide. This not only tends to distort all the vowels, but it can result in jaw joint pain, tension, and dysfunction, especially if the jaw is moved out of its hinges. And that's why I'm going to talk today about when a large jaw opening is appropriate and suitable to the needs of the vocal phrase. But before going any further, I need to clarify something. Jaw opening is often mistaken for or assumed to be synonymous with mouth opening. However, jaw opening is measured by the space between the rear molars, not by how large the mouth opening is. Although they influence each other, these two functions are technically separate. So that's why I tend to draw a distinction between these two. So let's talk about this practice of large jaw and mouth opening for a moment. Doing so doesn't necessarily serve or meet the resonance needs or aesthetic goals of the singer. Jaw opening alters the resonance frequencies of the vocal tract, the formants. In particular, jaw lowering is the deciding factor of the first formant. Lowering the jaw tunes the first formant by raising it because it causes a narrowing of the pharynx at the back, and to a lesser extent, it also raises the second formant. For the classical singer, this strategy is not effective until the upper portion of his or her range. Classical singers tend to tune to the second formant in and above the upper passaggio, allowing their vowels to turn over so that they can transition into a head voice rather than maintaining a first formant tuning, which would be described as a voce aperta, not a desirable performance timbre in opera. However, for the singer of contemporary commercial music, CCM, this strategy provides an easy method for tuning the first formant of various vowels to make them more suitable for given pitches in chest mix and belting. Now let's compare the classical singer's jaw and mouth opening to that of the musical theater singer. In classical singing, the jaw opens less. Even in the upper range, where jaw lowering is necessary and encouraged, the mouth still does not open as widely as it does for, let's say, belting, and should never be lowered to the point of unhinging or discomfort. And lip spreading, retraction of the corners of the mouth, is not typically seen until the soprano approaches her high C, C6. Instead, the operatic soprano generally tries to keep the lips more rounded, and in some cases, depending on her training and what works for her, she might even employ some lip protrusion or even like fish lips to help elongate the vocal tract and maintain depth in the sound. If you were to watch Pavarotti singing his high notes, you'll notice a comparatively small jaw and mouth opening and little external visible vocal effort as compared to what is typically demonstrated by singers of commercial styles. And yet, a very large sound is produced as a result of his effective resonance strategy, which, according to Donald G. Miller, is a second formant third harmonic tuning. For the classical singer, the primary resonating space is the pharynx, not the mouth. So again, the classical singer doesn't want to lower the jaw considerably because this will cause a narrowing of the pharynx. The tongue root remains out of the pharyngeal resonating space as much as possible. The pharynx remains widened and the larynx is low while the mouth space remains comparatively smaller. This is what researchers like Ingo Titze and Kenneth Bozeman have called an inverted megaphone shape. or a convergent vocal tract shape. However, in musical theater style belting, Titze and Bozeman have noted what they call a divergent vocal tract shape, namely the megaphone mouth shape, which involves a larger mouth opening, higher tongue posture, a narrower pharynx, and a higher larynx. This shape encourages more of the chiaro or bright sounds that are desirable in belted singing, and especially so in musical theater, while the classical singer's inverted megaphone shape retains more space in the pharynx and a longer resonator tube to maintain that chiaroscuro timbre, a balance of both the bright and the dark aspects of tone. In this video, we have Pavarotti. Note his collected jaw on the sustained B flat 4 here. Although his mouth does lower more for the pitch and intensity of the sustained tone, the corners of his mouth do not retract, and he keeps the degree of his mouth opening in check. Here, Idina Menzel performs Let It Go. Note her very large jaw and mouth opening, with some retraction of the corners of the mouth and teeth showing. Now this helps her raise her first formant to successfully belt out that note. This is the divergent megaphone vocal tract shape that I described earlier, and it's an example of a fairly typical degree of both jaw and mouth opening on high sustained tones in contemporary musical theater styles of singing, although Idina is believed to have an anatomically larger mouth than some. You'll see the same kind of large mouth opening in pop and rock music as well, although maybe not quite to the same extent in most singers.
Do I ever cross your mind?
Johann Sundberg notes that jaw lowering is pitch dependent and is also influenced by vocal dynamics, and that the practice of lowering the jaw further for higher pitches and louder singing has some good physiological and acoustical grounds. So your takeaway from today's lesson? Don't try to force your jaw into a very low position at all costs, and definitely not because you think it's going to make your diction better or improve your ability to be heard. Instead, base your degree of jaw and mouth opening on your resonance needs, your aesthetic goals, and the pitch and dynamics that you're singing. I hope this comparative approach has been interesting and informative. Please let me know if you have any questions or suggestions for more of these types of videos, and please subscribe so that you'll know when I post my next video. Thanks for watching.